12 years old, and I can't wait for my mother to get home because I'm so proud of what I've done. And she comes through the door, and I run over to her with a copy of Sassy magazine, the one with Jason Priestley on the cover. And I say, Mom, look at this mess. They could have put this together so much better for the girls of my generation. To which she says, well, you could write a letter to the editor. To which I say, oh, there's no need. I've already called Sassy Magazine in New York, and left a message. My mother asked a couple questions about whether I knew what a long-distance phone bill was. But mostly, she was very proud of me. And that would add to the collection of stories she had from my childhood that would leave her shaking her head and saying, I don't know where she gets that confidence. And that confidence would continue for about another year or so until one particular day, my high school orientation. You see, I wasn't going down the hill to the public school with all my friends and all the kids I'd grown up with in my rural New Hampshire town. I was going up the hill to the 150-year-old private boarding school, known to my townie friends and family as the prep school. Prior to my entry into high school, an education like this wouldn't have been fathomable by my family, both in caliber and cost. My family's pretty poor. My grandparents were a factory worker, a landscaper, a school lunch lady, and a waitress. My family started out, my mom and my dad, my two older brothers, 10 and 12 years older than me, in a tiny house in Proctor, Vermont. But then by the time I came along, my dad had gotten an associate's degree and moved the family to New Hampshire for a job, and things got better. And then he started his own company, and things got a lot better. I like to think about my family's socioeconomic climb in Ford truck models. We started with a very modest Ford Ranger, and then we moved to a Ford F-150, and then to a Ford F-250, and then by the time I got to high school, we were driving around in a Ford F-350. But there weren't a whole lot of Ford F-350s pulling up to the prep school that day for orientation. It was more like fancy sports cars and town cars and SUVs. And as far as I could tell, none of them had a NASCAR sticker or a gun rack on the back. The cars were different, the architecture was different, even the names were different. All of a sudden I was in class with Dax and Duke and Sterling. And Wadley. I can't forget that one. That was a really good one. But I didn't meet just Dax and Duke and Sterling and Wadley that day. That day, I would also meet someone who became closer to me than just about anyone else in my life. My imposter. I got to know her so well over the years, I actually gave her a name. Patricia the Imposter. And she's here right now. The first time I heard Patricia's voice, it was when I was getting my clothes together for that orientation day, and she leaned in and she said, you've seen those prep kids down at the pizza place, right? They don't wear any of this stuff. If you wear this stuff, they're gonna know you don't belong. And she would keep whispering, these kids have a lot more money than you do. They're a lot smarter. They're more well-heeled. They're well-traveled. What do you got? You better not let them know you spend Christmas in a double-wide trailer in Vermont. And the worst thing about Patricia is that no matter how much evidence I mounted against her, she still made me feel like I was a fake and a phony. So when I was captain of the field hockey team, or on the dean's list, or even when I won the headmaster's prize upon graduation, I wasn't good enough. And that's the thing about imposter syndrome, is that no matter what you do, you always think it's a fluke. I got lucky. Or my favorite mantra, it's my charm. I'm hilarious. People love being around me. They just want me around. And there was Patricia, there at every turn. Oh, congratulations on your headmaster's prize. What was that one for again? I think it actually said for chutzpah, right? Yeah, good. You know, that's a pity prize. You weren't good enough to get an academic prize. And so here I am, in front of you now, 40 years old, about 20 years in sales, worked my way up from a tiny little market in Burlington, Vermont, all the way up to global brands like National Geographic. I have, thank you. It's just luck. I have sold big deals in big rooms to big companies like Google and Goldman Sachs. And when I went out on my own, my first long-term client was a New York Times best-selling author and Oprah show alum. Thank you. Sure. By all means, I look successful, absolutely. I get to help the world's coolest entrepreneurs and mission-driven companies do more of what they want to do in the world. I help them bring in the revenue so they can put out the impact, and it's fucking awesome. And here's Patricia. Welcome. She sits here, and you know, as I get more successful, that girl gets louder. A company? Are you out of your fucking mind? No, please, by all means, don't say stay safe at National Geographic with health insurance. Like, what the fuck would you want to do that for? Oh my God. You know, you really are too big for your britches. No, seriously, I'm talking to you. Because I'm telling you, if you let the mask fall, it's curtains for me and it's curtains for you. That Patricia, she is quite persuasive. She is also pretty predictable. So predictable, in fact, that I've named it Patricia's 5 Ps of Imposter Syndrome. Performance, procrastination, pushing, partying, and panic. It always starts with a performance of some kind. Either I'm giving a sales training or I have a big sales meeting with a potential new client, and I'm in there and I'm doing my thing, and my rational brain knows that I deserve to be there, that I'm adding value, that I'm teaching, that I'm helping. But Patricia doesn't buy that. She's, Oscar-winning performance, Davis. It was fabulous. You landed every line. Now, no. Off the stage, over here, where we can just see in the light. There it is, all charm, no substance. Yeah. But it works, and I get clients, and I get opportunities. And Patricia can't quite believe this. She's all, I'm sorry, they paid you how much? Oh my God. Lord, we're gonna have to work 17 times harder. Oh, Christ. And she gets in such a tizzy that she puts me into a paralyzing, painful bout of procrastination. She stops me from doing the actual shit I love to do. But because Patricia is also a perfectionist, she can't let me go in anywhere completely unprepared. So we move into a full-blown push in the last 24 hours. I am so horrified that I have waited this long. I am so full of anxiety. I'm in what Brene Brown calls a shame storm. And the only thing I know how to do is throw all of my joy, all of my self-care out the fucking window and focus, hyper-focus, and overwork. And this is all very terrible, but of course it works. My clients are very happy. They have tangible results. And I'm like, wait, I can't even believe this is happening. I really thought I was half-assing it. And then my husband likes to remind me that my half-assed is anybody else's best day. Because he's so sweet. And so I'm like, right, okay, cool. Well, maybe I'll just party for a little bit. Okay, I got this. Lasts about, what do you think, 10 seconds? And then Patricia is here, and she pounds me right over to the final P of this whole thing, which is panic. I'm sorry, were you partying? Did you let your guard down? You have got to be kidding me. You know those people knew nothing about sales. You essentially taught them the equivalent of tying their fucking shoelaces when it comes to sales. So you better not hope they pick up a book or, God forbid, talk to another sales consultant because you're toast. And I'm like, Okay, yeah, okay, Patricia, okay, I hear you, yeah. And she's like, what are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it? And I'm like, I don't know, I don't know. And what I do is that I go exactly back to the only thing I know how and start this whole stupid fucking thing over again. Again and again and again. And the bitch of it all is that it works. I have only been on a steady incline my entire career, but it's relentless and it's exhausting. And Patricia's demands leave no time for my family, for my friends, for my clients to really get to know me, my self-care, my spiritual practice, or my joy. So I've been starting to think about, thank you, take it, thank you. I've been starting to think about what life would be like without Patricia. I tried to get rid of her cold turkey, but as you may have surmised, she is a stage 5 clinger. Not only that, the harder I fight her, the louder she gets. So if Patricia's not going anywhere, I gotta work with Patricia. And I'm sharing this experience with all of you because I have to think that this experience happens to more than just me. So I want to tell you what's working with dear old Patricia. The first thing I try to do is notice her. Notice when she is speaking. She's been with me so long that sometimes I can't tell if it's my voice and intuition or Patricia. But I try to notice. And the second thing I do is acknowledge her. Because what else do we know? She has good intentions. She's trying to protect me. But unfortunately, she thinks if she can keep me small, she can keep me safe. But I want to acknowledge her and thank her. The third thing I want to do is investigate. I want to look for evidence that what she's saying is true. Because of course we know there is no evidence. In fact, there's a mountain of evidence to the contrary. And I want to take that knowing and I want to lean in to that learning that she's just trying to keep me safe and there's no evidence. And if I can lean into that learning, then I can carry forward confidence. So the next time you want to go for that big client, or you want to go for that promotion or raise, or you want to do the thing that's been nipping at your heels that you haven't done yet because of your own Patricia, I want you to notice her. I want you to acknowledge her, to investigate those claims, and to lean into the learning. Because if you can do that, you're going to nail it. And why? Because it's time.